Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Sigmar!
And tonight we're unboxing Harrowdeep.
Ooh! Bloom. Splosh. Yes, we're unboxing Harrowdeep, Season 5 of the Underworlds. I was going to say trilogy, but it wouldn't be a really good trilogy then.
A Douglas Adams type trilogy.
It would be a bit, yes, but it's the 5th season of the Underworlds series that GW done of the most competitive, or the ultimate competitive miniatures game. Ooh. So we're going to go through this box in this video, and we're just going to be looking at the contents here. We're going to go into all the details of all the rules changes from Season 4 for any of you more elite veteran types in the next video, which will be in the description and linked in this video. So do check that one out if you're not interested in seeing what's in the box.
Yeah, and we will have a battle report up very soon as well, hopefully on the day of pre-order release, but if not, as soon as is humanly possible afterwards. I will say before we go into this that GW literally sent this to us today, and we recorded it today. And so it's literally our first thoughts on what's in the box.
This is literally our first reactions. And it's a box. It's a
Well,
lovely square box.
It isn't massively bigger than the previous boxes.
It's not bigger than the previous
seasons.
seasons.
Same size as the previous seasons.
But I know I'm still going to bill this as the biggest unboxing ever, because this is the biggest version
of Underworlds. It's not our biggest unboxing ever.
No, they're much bigger boxes.
Yes. Yeah.
So here's the box itself, and it's pretty standard setup there. You can see here on the camera, it's got all your usual stuff. You've got the Warhammer Underworlds and Harrowdeep, which is obviously their title for this season, and their little moniker underneath about the ultimate competitive miniatures.
I really like
game.
the artwork on the box this season. I think these two in particular are damn fine.
This is, really nice. I think, one of my favourite artworks so far. I mean, possibly the 2-player starter set wasn't bad, but I think I was tainted by the fact that I didn't really like that as a set anyway. So, but this one I agree, I do like.
Open the box, open the box.
Here we go. Here's the top coming off the box. So, here we go. Oh, it's got a book.
Now, I have opened it and assembled the miniatures and rifled through it and taken all the good cards out so Pete can't use them.
Oh, damn.
This came in cellophane, and the cards
wrapped
came
in a layer of nice
the cards came
plastic.
in cellophane. Yeah.
So this rule book, we will be going into all the details in the rule book and the differences of the current season in another video. Like I say,
it's quite chunky. It's chunkier than it used to be.
It does feel thicker. Yeah. More and more rules are coming out. We also have a How to Play series that was back from the Beastgrave days, and we might try and update that if people are interested. So do let us know if you are interested in seeing that. We then have a box of tokens, which we will go into in a little while. We'll open those up in a moment.
And then just loads of cards that I threw back in the box in a hurry.
Didn't get packaged at all. So there is your standard pack of dice. For anybody unfamiliar, you'll be using these for your attacks and your defences and the casting of spells. For those who've seen this before, obviously the magic dice are red rather than blue.
Yes, that's unusual. They've still got crits and things on them. They're still the same dice, but they have changed
the hue.
Now the cards, as you can see, are a bit of a jumble, but what you do get in here is you get Warbound Fighter cards,
dice,
and there would have been plastic sprues and miniatures in here as well.
Yeah,
but you get the Warbound Fighter cards for both the Warbands, and they each one card for each fighter. You get 32 cards that are specific for the Cunning Crew, and 32 cards that are specific for Zandire's Truth Seekers. And then you also get a new set of cards called the Grand Alliance cards. Ooh. And there's a chunk of those, and there's a load of universal cards. If you check out our rules video, we'll talk a little bit about how the deck building is done for this game, although veterans, of course, will know it. I have noticed that there's lots of more symbols and things are codified, which we've kind of noticed from various Games Workshop posts on their community page, and that's all very true. So some of the cards have got new emblems and things like that, but again, we'll talk about that in the other video. So what else do we get in here? We get 38 glory point tokens, you get 8 activation tokens, that's 4 activations each, 24 wound tokens, and a whole load of new counters, which are green and yellow. There's a new thing.
That's funky.
This does include raise tokens, which we would have noticed from the GW posts. And I will say that there are 1 or 2 cards that do invoke raise in the game, but nothing for the 2 warbands included in the game. It's purely, in fact, I think it's purely, Pete, on the Death Grand Alliance cards.
Oh, there we go.
So I suppose that makes some sense.
One thing that is quite interesting here that I have noticed looking at these is this card feels much more matte, or looks much more matte than previous seasons of the tokens. They feel much more matte.
They feel thinner.
The guard tokens are quite iconised. They're not very arty. They're very sort of generic. And I think if you look at the charge and the move tokens, they too don't have like a particular.
Yeah.
They haven't got as much pomp and panache about them. They're much more basic.
It is a more because the Beastgrave ones had little kind of thing. Giant's Causeway hexagons on,
and it could be that because these are trying to go for like a dark blue that you can't really see or appreciate quite so much. But
I like them, but they do feel a bit thinner.
Do feel a bit thinner.
Pop a hex out. Definitely, I feel like that's maybe I'm just making it up.
Could be.
But it feels thinner. I quite like the green and yellow. The activation tokens are quite nice. They're a deeper hue than the other ones.
And apart from that, the tokens you then get 2 boards, which obviously you need for this game. So here's 1 board. Pretty basic stuff, really. And we found out what these hexes do, and we're going to be covering that in the next video about all the rules and changes and stuff like that.
I love the boards.
The boards are really nice. These ones, I think all of them were just artwork, but these ones look more fantastical artwork wise than the previous ones.
I love that whirlpool.
It's very nice. I do like
that. I do like the aesthetic of Harrowdeep, more so than Chasm and Beastgrave.
Definitely, yep, same for me.
So you get all your objective tokens in there because we've got the boards. You get a scatter token, so scatter is still a thing. And then you get your models. Now the models, they all come on a sprue, which I've assembled because we want to play tonight.
Yep.
They were. I always call myself the lowest common denominator for assembling things because I'm terrible at it. The Stormcast went together like a dream. Really well, really nice. They're really lovely models, I think, particularly the Archer. And the Orcs weren't too bad. The smaller ones were pretty easy. I had a couple of difficulties with the bigger ones. They've got lots of spindly bits and
very sharp and stabby.
If they don't quite go into the
don't get quite in the right place, the alignment.
One of them I tried to push in and it wasn't quite lined up and it bent, and then it was really difficult to sort out. But actually, they were compared with some things I put together recently, like compared with the Kill Team Death Corps of Krieg.
Yeah,
they were very simple, and I think better than some of the last season's push fit models. They are push fit, all push fit. You don't need glue.
All you need is
clippers. They're all push fit, and they have got a bit of that kind of 3D puzzle feel to them, but it was a little bit more intuitive than some of the other ones. So they weren't too bad to put together. All in all, I would say. One thing I have noticed is, I think, is it the boss with the cage on his head for the Cunning Crew?
Cage on his head. That's just horrific.
That is going to be a nightmare to paint, especially the way he goes together. It's quite hard for a beginner painter to do it, because people like to do sub assemblies where they don't put the bits together because it goes together in 2 halves, kind of around his head like
back
that.
and the front half.
It's going to be hard to do that, I think, especially if you're new to painting.
Yeah,
I think although it looks great, it's perhaps a bit of an oversight on the design of the miniature, because
they could have done with having the cage a piece that fit into some holes around his head or something, just to make it a bit easier. But it is what it is. I do think they have they continually make the models more and more fiddly and just I can't. It
looks amazing. I just think if it's your first introduction to painting, which this is, I mean, and of course you don't have to paint them. There's no obligation to paint them, and they are different colours. They're green and blue. But if it is your first introduction to painting, he is going to be a bit of a pig. But then maybe you won't care. Maybe you'll just work through the bars and just paint the bars afterwards.
Yeah, I reckon you could do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much everything you get in the box. It's a pretty simple set of boards, tokens and stuff like that, and we are going to cover the rule changes in more detail, and the cards that you get in here in more detail, and the warband you get in more detail in separate videos, but we want to keep this one nice and short for anybody who is completely new to the hobby and basically just wants to know what do you get in the box. That's what you get in the box.
And if you are completely new to the hobby and you have any questions, do put them in the comments below. Do follow us on here. Do click on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Facebook,
because we are pretty responsive, we like to think, and we're always happy to answer questions of beginners, and it's help them out and point them in the right direction. There's some great resources out there if you're new to the hobby. So do let us know, and welcome aboard the Underworlds train. It's all a bit of a mystery at the moment, but we can't wait to see what's in season 5.
So we'll see you in the next video.